What's up, Nerdgenic Nation? Superhero nerd Aaron Waller here, and today we're going to talk about the new DC animated movie Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons and let you know if this DC entry is worth watching or if you should skip it. As they're burdened with saving the world from impending doom from the villain Starro, the two must join forces to rescue their fathers and save the planet by becoming the superheroes that they were always meant to be. Now, when this feature first dropped a trailer, I really didn't expect much from it. I figured the Jonathan Kent angle would be interesting, but I wasn't very excited for the Damian Wayne aspect. To be honest, he's really never been one of my favorite Batman characters, let alone favorite Robin. But as with just about anything DC, I knew I was gonna have to see this movie one way or another. And I have to say, I was mildly surprised despite the very formulaic approach to a lot of what this movie had to offer. The first thing that really sets this movie apart, in my opinion, is the animation. This film is like a 2D, 3D hybrid, but not so much like Spider-Verse, but rather more like Iron Giant, which I thought was going to be cheesy, and at times it is, but it kind of grew on me the more that I watched this movie, and I think that I might like it slightly more than the Johnny Quest stylized art form from Superman Man of Tomorrow and other more recent DC animated movies. In terms of the characters and the story, there were a lot of very stereotypical moments that made me want to roll my eyes, but then again, I have to think that this movie isn't necessarily for me, but rather for a younger audience. They do retell the Superman origin story at one point, as well as give exposition as to who characters are, but as this is more from the perspective of kids and preteens, you kind of have to give those explanations rather than just skip past them just because we, the older nerds, have seen and heard this a million times by now. In terms of the acting, that too is also fairly good. Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddie Freeman in Shazam, voices Jonathan Kent, and his optimistic and enthusiastic voice for how Jonathan acts was a perfect casting. And then there's Jack Griffo, who is a great Damian, and I have to say this movie slightly did change my mostly negative response towards Damian Wayne, so at least I got that out of it. The weakest aspect of this movie for me was with Starro being the villain and only leaving Jonathan Kent and Robin to save everyone. I feel like we already kind of got this story in the Suicide Squad, at least a little bit, maybe not the whole movie, but it was kind of still the same concept as that's just the villain's story. Though it was pretty cool to see Jonathan Kent and Damian Wayne fight their fathers, that was probably the most worth it fight of all of this movie. But other than that selling point, it felt very flat and almost like an afterthought as they spent so much time trying to develop Jonathan Kent as a character. Overall, Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons is actually pretty good. I wouldn't say it's a return to form like back in the heyday of the DC animated movies, but it offered a little bit of a different style and I think a very positive step for DC animation after quite a few misfires. So despite what I would call a bit of a deceptive title with the Batman and Superman aspect of the title, I'm going to give Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons a 7 out of 10. It's certainly worth a watch, though I wouldn't say you need to rush out and see it anytime soon. Though if you do have HBO Max and aren't in a rush, give it a month or two and it will probably pop up there in no time. So those are my thoughts on Batman and Superman Battle of the Super Sons, and now I want to hear from you in the Nerdgenic community. What did you think of this DC animated entry? Is it a step in the right direction, or did you think it was a dud? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. And while you're down there, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification so you don't miss out on any future videos from me or the rest of the Nerdgenic team. And also be sure to give us a like and follow across all social media platforms at Nerdgenic. That way you don't miss out on any special news, announcements, or articles at nerdgenic.com. But in the meantime, if you want even more DC content from us, check out this playlist right over here. Or if you love comics like I do, check out this history of playlist where I give the comic book history of various heroes and villains right over here. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you in the next video.